And good afternoon, everybody. Or I'm not sure when you're watching this. Dobry utro, dobry dzień, dobry wieczór. Whatever time it is, it's nice to see you. So the thing I wanted to talk about today is noun declensions. They're very important for Russian because it's a way of categorizing what we're working, the words that we're learning, the things that we're working on. So rather than having to learn, 12 endings or so for every single word that we learn, we can instead just focus on learning a pattern. So just, one word 12 times, let's say, 12 different endings. And then from that point on, anytime that we have a word with that ending, we know exactly where it belongs. We know exactly how to organize it. So again, I like to think of this as a file cabinet. The idea behind this is that, again, maybe let's say you have nothing in this file cabinet yet, but you already have it clearly marked and labeled what file cabinet it is, what it's going to be used for, let's say tax returns. I don't know why I'm thinking about taxes. It's not even tax season. And let's say inside of that file cabinet, you have folders. The folders are clearly labeled, taxes 2016, 2017. Maybe you've broken up one of the drawers to have, federal taxes versus state taxes. And inside each of those folders, you have, or little sections, you have folders, with the different years, maybe different documents, kind of ready to go. Whether you have papers in there or not, you already have it organized and it's already ready to go. So once you do start coming up with things that you can put in there, you'll be able to put it in very quickly. Okay, the idea there is that it's efficient, it's organized, and it's fast, and it's going to work. So rather than having to do that every single time or just putting a whole bunch of papers inside this file cabinet completely, disheveled and disorganized, this way you have a system, an approach to doing things faster, and to be making things more painless. Declensions work in that same way for Russian for nouns and pronouns. Basically, instead of learning the endings of a word every single time, you'll know these endings. For the endings for one word, we'll call it a paradigm noun, a pattern noun. And after that, you'll just know everything after that. So let's go ahead and take a look at one. Okay, so I'm going to switch the screen here. Can you see me? I hope so. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the word Bog as our paradigm. Okay, so let me do a little bigger. So again, we've learned that the word Bog means God, right? And we've learned that if we have learned a word in the past in Russian, chances are that word was taught in the nominative. We learned it in the nominative. Bog, Vera, Kniga, and so on. Okay, so let's give you a pattern. So again, nominative singular, we'll start with that, is Bog. Okay. And we haven't talked about what these other cases are yet, but that's fine. So, Bocha, Bocha, that's an A. Bohu, Bogum, that looks like bottom. That's better. And Bogi. Okay, so if I zoom out of that, we have our first paradigm noun. So I encourage you, again, you don't know what these endings are yet, and that's totally fine. Okay? But just like a file cabinet, we get things ready now. It'll help us later on. So again, later on, if you learn the word mir, which means world, you'll be able to apply these same endings to it. You learn any other word that's within this declension that's going to be in this folder, they're all going to have those endings. So you've already labeled it and you're already good to go. That's the idea behind this. So rote memorization at this point is very, very helpful, and it'll just kind of pin something in your mind for this. So if we go down the line, it's going to be Bog, Bocha, Bocha, Bohu, Bochum, Bochi. Okay, that's nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, instrumental, prepositional. I like to use this as a way of remembering that order, nagdip. If you're going to a party and you need to bring chips, there's nothing better to accompany those chips than nag dip. Yeah. That was a very terrible joke, and I know that. But it's going to help you remember this, right? Okay, so nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, instrumental, prepositional. So as you're learning these endings, you remember nag dip, you remember boch, bocha, bocha, boku, bokum, boki, and kind of put those two together, right? It'll help you to remember what's what. So at that point, then later on, you're going to be like, what is the what's that M, the yet on the end of that word? I can't remember. And then you're going to go down the line for this and go, oh, that's right, it's prepositional. That means this. Okay. Or in this case, maybe it's, I don't remember, but I know the nominative for this word. Let me look it up. Okay. So in either situation, it's going to be helpful to know these endings. Okay, let's see. What else do I want to do? We are at 6 minutes. Okay. Let's do one more as an example. So, since I mentioned it, Vera is feminine. That's really, really, really big writing. Let's try this again. And it means faith. Okay, so similar idea. We're going to go down the line. Now, again, these endings are going to be different. Don't worry about that. We'll practice it. We'll memorize it. We'll go through it. But this is just to give us a chance to kind of create that file cabinet. So Vera, then nag dip. So the next one is accusative. Veru. Veri. Vere. That doesn't look very good. Vere. And then this is instrumental. Okay, you're going to see both endings veroi and veroi. That wasn't even a letter. It looked like Korean a little bit. There you go. That's what I meant. Okay. Veroi or veroyu, and then prepositional is also veri. So let's look at that in its entirety. Again, nag dip, so vera, veru, veri, vere, veroi, veri. Okay. Memorize this, just practice it, say it, when you wake up in the morning, when you're taking your shower, on your way to work, on your way to Russian class for that matter. Just practice, bok, boka, boga, boku, bokum, boki, vera, veru, veri, vere, veroi, veri, right? Just keep on going through that and practice it, and you'll be spouting these off like no time, very fast. It's going to be very helpful. I'll be giving you a couple more in another video later on. All right. Take care. До свидания и увидимся скоро. And happy Russian, happy practicing.